All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Friday, but it is Friday the 13th. Dun, dun, dun.
And you get to use your favorite word.
Triskaidekaphobiac.
Doo-doo-doo.
Thank you. I can even spell it.
Go.
T-R-I-S. K-A-C-A-P-H-O-B-I-A. Triskaidekaphobiac.
I'm going to check it. It is. You missed an I.
Uh-oh.
It's Triskaidek.
Oh. Sorry.
So
I'm off the island.
it's all right.
Shame.
It's all right,
Shame.
Brian, you can brag all you want. This is the talk show portion, so it's okay.
Okay.
If you made that brag.
So I can make stuff up.
Prior portion.
I can make
By
stuff
the way,
up.
there's more stuff coming out about Mr. Williams.
Oh, you're kidding.
So apparently
They're just piling on now, right?
He said he was at the Brandenburg Gate when the wall came down, and I guess someone was filming that, and there didn't appear to be any Brian Williams there or about.
Have you seen? Oh, who was it that sent out a picture of? Oh, some Civil War picture or whatever.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah. And here's Brian Williams in the background. Come on, guys.
Photobombing history.
Come on. That is not fair. Anyway, 721-1290 is our number, 1-800-568-5309. We kind of have open phones the first half hour of the show. So if there's something going on that you want to talk about, we would love to do that. Well, John's on the phone. So so I should keep going? Okay. Anyway, yesterday, of course, the big story was Marcus Kaarma was sentenced. The killing of Dear and Dede actually happened early in the morning on April 28th of last year. And then, of course, he was charged, and the trial went on December 1st. And he was found guilty after a couple of days, jury deliberations, and then, of course, they set the sentencing date for yesterday. And yesterday, the courtroom again was full of media and also full of spectators. There are lots of friends there of Dede. His host family was there. Of course, his father was there, whom I finally had a chance to meet, Mr. Dede. He was almost impossible to get to during the trial. So after the sentencing, I finally had a chance to visit with him. Very intense man, but he was very pleasant. So anyway, lots of testimony before the sentencing, just of course to try to influence the judge or let the judge know various things about the defendant. Now, what people don't realize, that there was what they called a PSI, pre-sentence investigation, that was put together by the folks who are in the parole division, and it was like 23 pages long. So it recommended that Mr. Kaarma get 80 years in prison, and that's also the recommendation from the prosecutor's office. And one of the reasons why was because of testimony like this from Detective Guy Baker, who was the lead detective with the Missoula Police Department. He was on the stand for the prosecution, speaking to Judge McLean.
He seems to relish in the notoriety of being a murderer, commenting how other inmates treat him and how they respond around him. In one conversation on December 28th of 2014, he referred to himself as American hero for what he did, and he wasn't being treated as a hero.
Now, on the other side, on the defense side, there were two witnesses there. Actually, three witnesses. One was a psychologist that they had on the phone, Dr. Douglas Johnson, who said that Kaarma was suffering from severe anxiety disorder, and so with treatment that he would not be dangerous if he was, got an early out from his prison sentence. So that was one. And then they had his mother, I believe her name is Oki Kaarma. She was on the stand, and here is just a portion of what she said to the judge.
He has a loving family. He really has no reason to kill anybody on purpose. Of course he feels remorse. He feels so bad. He is a father himself.
A dramatic moment during her testimony when she actually addressed Mr. Dede, who was sitting in the front row of the gallery. And she was saying, I just, from our family, I didn't feel it was appropriate to talk with you during the trial itself, but now I just want to express how sorry I am. And he puts his arms out. He says, it's too late. It's too late. And just very loud so everybody could hear him. And so when I spoke with him after the sentencing, I had a chance to visit with him, and through his interpreter, this is what he said about the comment that Mrs. Kaarma made while she was on the stand.
He doesn't think that sympathy of the mother and of the family of Kaarma towards the Dede family is based on real feelings. And it comes too late, and it seems to be based on tactic to get a lower sentence, but it doesn't express real feelings.
Now, one of the most controversial comments, unfortunately I don't have the actual audio, but I was sitting like 5 feet from where it happened, was Janelle Flager was on the stand talking about, she had a prepared statement, and she was saying that Marcus Kaarma was trying to protect her and her son, Finn, from what they deemed to be a threat. And she expressed also her condolences to the Dede family, so sorry that he died. And then Carla Painter, one of the prosecutors, walked up to cross-examine her and said, because the Kaarmas were forced to pay over $12,000 in restitution for funeral costs for Dear and Dede. And and Flager was quoted as saying, we're not going to pay that for that dirty rat kid.
Wow.
And she says, did you say that? She says, I don't remember saying that. But
I wouldn't remember it either.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, it's wow. I mean, the whole morning was fraught with emotion. It really was.
So the whole American hero thing and the dirty rat comment, this is stuff that's happened since the trial. This is stuff that happened in the prison.
Yes.
It certainly has, it does lend itself to a sense of lack of remorse. I mean, even if I had thought I was justified in shooting an invader in my garage, I would still feel bad about finding out it was a kid, right?
Yeah, and I think the whole thing was yes, but.
Yeah.
Yes, but. Yes, I feel bad that I killed someone, but he was breaking into my house, he was committing a forcible felony, all that stuff. So that's how it went. And I think because of that, that was a mitigating factor in his sentencing, that Judge McLean said, you weren't protecting your home, you were going hunting when you grabbed that 12-gauge shotgun.
Well, and the 80 years thing, that was the request, and it went down to 70.
Yeah.
But it does look like the prosecution really won out on that, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Because usually they shoot really high and they get less. I remember watching the Glacier case, and they asked for life imprisonment, and then got to scale down from there.
Right. I'll tell you, we're way overdue for a break. If you have a comment or a question you'd like to, we really haven't had a chance to comment about the sentencing yet from the Kaarma trial, kind of the last chapter. Hang on the phone, and we have two lines open, 721-1290. We'll be right back and talk about it. Hey, it's Talk Back, and it's Friday the 13th, baby. All right, that's John King over there. I'm Peter Christian, and I want to say thank you to Dave for holding through the break. Good morning, Dave. What's on your mind?
Morning. Is there anything more on the death threats being made against Paul Ryan?
I spoke with Mr. Ryan yesterday, just as he was headed out of town. As far as I know, the only death threat that was, he's had several phone calls, but there was somebody actually shot a bullet hole through his window at his house.
A bullet hole? Huh?
Yeah, there was a bullet hole in the window in his house, and then someone wrote a very nasty message on the side of the building, which, by the way, his office is in the same building as the Spectrum Children's Museum.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and so somebody put some horrible epithet or whatever on with spray paint. And not only that, but all of his associates during the trial, this was all during the trial. And this is all in the affidavit, by the way. I'm not making this up. You can check it. I'm not Brian Williams, I promise. Anyway, so it's right there in the affidavit. All of the associates who were helping to represent Mr. Kaarma received, filthy phone messages, hang-ups, things like that during the trial as well. So.
Shoot. All right, thanks.
All right, thanks, Dave. Appreciate the call. Yeah, 721-1290. And, it's a shame. I just wish people wouldn't do that. That guy's just doing his job. His job is to defend Mr. Kaarma, and they did the best they could. So
Yeah, we don't lynch people anymore, right?
Anyway.
So you have to have defense attorneys.
yes.
Boy.
And by the way, I did speak with Paul Ryan about the appeal, and he said, first of all, he said the appeal will be filed, quote, in an appropriate amount of time. We'll follow all the rules from the court. I think it has to be either a minimum of 30 or 60 days following sentencing. And he said the whole appeals process is probably going to run about a year because it's going to have to be placed on the Montana Supreme Court docket. First of all, they're going to have to agree to hear it, and then it's going to be on the docket. Then it'll have to be argued before the Supreme Court, and then the Supreme Court will decide if there is going to be a new trial in a different venue. Now, Judge McLean, during the arguments with the Kaarma attorneys, Nate Holloway was the gentleman who was arguing all the motions, right? And then Judge McLean said, well, you're arguing that Missoula had all this negative publicity, but didn't this story go out all over the state? And he said, yes, it did. Well, then why would he be able to get a fair trial at any other city in the state of Montana, like a Kalispell or a Butte or a Bozeman or whatever, when the story went statewide? And Mr. Holloway's answer was that the amount of publicity here in Missoula was so pervasive that the rest of the state would never have had that much publicity.
I think if they really want to make that case, they have to make the case that the Missoulian or KCI and KPAX, the local coverage, was so abusive, and that wasn't a level that was shared across the country.
Well, if you look at the 450 exhibits that they put, you could definitely draw that perception.
Were we in any of the exhibits?
I'm sure we were.
Awesome.
Yeah. But
we should go find out where we're at.
In a small way, but we do news just like all the other news outlets do news. But anyway, I'm not sure where we were in there, pro or con or whatever. But let's put it this way: what we tried to do, and please tell me. I mean, I would like to know because I was the guy that did most of the reporting on that story. Were we straight down the middle? Did we do the facts? Did we try to cover both sides? I mean, the whole idea is we're not in the business to try to influence people one way or another, whether a person is innocent or guilty. Our job is to provide for you the facts of what happened, the best that we can ascertain through the sources that we get, and then let you decide if how you want to form your opinion. And if you're not a member of the jury, I hate to say it, but it doesn't really matter that much whether you think someone is innocent or guilty. Is that right? I mean, the only people whose opinions really matter in that one is the jury.
Well, in the court of law. But if you really think someone's guilty and they are declared innocent, or you really think someone's innocent and they declared guilty, then you have a social problem.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's tell you what, we're up. Catherine, I know you have a few things to say, so I want to take a break here. I don't want to make you hold, so we'll be right back with more in just a minute. Two lines open, by the way, at 721-1290. Ow! Yeah! 721-1290 is the number. It's Friday the 13th, and that's John King of... What am I talking like that for? I don't know.
I don't know, but it's pretty awesome!
That's right. Thank you very much, brother. All right. My friends, and you are my friends. Catherine, hi.
Good morning.
It's Friday. Can you tell?
I can tell. I can also tell it's the 13th.
Almost. Like here it is Friday. Only 2 more working days this week. But anyway,
right.
So what's going on?
Two questions. One having to do with Kaarma. The other one having nothing to do with anything that has been discussed.
All right.
Okay. With regard to Kaarma, a civil suit has been filed by the Dede family. Is that correct?
It will be, yes. When I spoke with Mr. Dede yesterday through his interpreter, they are definitely planning on filing a civil suit, and I believe the reason is because Mrs. Kaarma, Marcus Kaarma's mother, their family's quite wealthy. He wants to do a civil suit to diminish the amount of funds they have available to continue the appeal process.
Ah, okay. So I was wondering.
That would be my guess.
Well, I was wondering about that because she is the financial heavyweight.
Yes.
So they're going after the extended family then.
From what I understand.
Yeah. Huh. Okay. All right. The second one
Well, we'll know for sure when the suit is actually filed.
I thought the suit was already filed.
No, he said I think they said they would.
Yeah, they are planning a civil suit.
Yeah, okay.
So,
second one, and I haven't heard a whole lot about this in the mainstream news yet, but there's a bunch of strikes that are in the process of going on or being threatened. Are you aware of that?
yeah, the dock workers on the West Coast, right?
Aren't they in like a slowdown or a?
Right now it's a slowdown, but that's the Longshoremen's Union. By the way, you know how much a longshoreman makes an average salary?
You sent me that link, and I was absolutely shocked at the way these poor men and women are being just humiliated with miserable wages. I mean, they only average about $130,000 a year. That is shocking. Shocking.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's almost mayor salary
I know.
levels.
Yeah, that of course excludes benefits, but
Yeah.
the companies that contract with the Longshoremen's Union are not able to make enough money to pay the health insurance because they get the Cadillac insurance. You know, the union's
Right.
Longshoremen's Union gets the Cadillac insurance, so there's a 40% tax that's going to be going on to those union health plans.
And I'm sure they really appreciate that.
I'm sure they do. But that's one of the main reasons, apparently, that they're all going on strike is because the company can't afford to pay that.
Wow.
And their nice salaries that they get. So anyway, so if the ports close down in the Pacific, that means that all the product that's sitting in shipping containers from China and elsewhere are going to be just sitting there, or go through the Panama Canal around to the East Coast,
or it could land up in Canada and then by rail come back down through the United States.
Or they could just pour it down the Keystone XL pipeline.
That's right.
or all of which will increase prices.
Oh yeah.
Things. And plus the other end of it is that our farmers and ranchers are not going to be able to put their product onto ships to ship to Asia.
Sure, yeah, because it goes two directions, doesn't it?
That's right. And so there's also other strikes that are coming online. There's the Verizon strike, and there's the SEIU strike.
Lovely.
And so there's a whole plethora of strikes that are in the process of
well, Obama's not going to let the Verizon strike go through. If he can't take a selfie,
we'll see.
then all hell will break loose.
Hey, we got to run. We got to run. Thanks,
All right.
Catherine, and thanks for your help yesterday, by the way.
Oh, no problem. It was fun.
Appreciate it. Rick, you're on Talkback. Hi.
Rick, are you there?
Hello, Rick.
Yes, I'm here.
Yes.
I didn't know I was next, though.
Yes, sir. Go ahead, please.
Yes, I was wondering, just a quick question. I was wondering if you guys have ever had a house burglarized before.
I personally have not.
Nor have I.
Well, I have, and was here in Missoula County, up in the Rattlesnake, and my wife and I were sitting there. She was crying afterwards. It was summertime, and we were also, our house was so hot that we were ventilating our house by the garage, leaving the garage door open at night.
Sure, right, yeah. We've done that.
That's how the burglars came in.
Right.
And my wife was crying, and she asked one of the deputies what we do now. How are we going to find our stuff? And it was kind of ironic after your guys' conversation yesterday. But the deputy told us that the best thing we could do was check the pawn shops and to watch for our stuff.
Wow.
I asked one of the deputies what we could do to protect ourselves, and he asked me if I had a firearm. And I said no. And his suggestion was that I get one and learn how to use it.
Wow. And the key word there is learn how to use it.
Yeah. Don't shoot blindly in the dark, lesson 1.
Exactly.
Thanks for your call.
Rick, I appreciate that. Interesting perspective. Vern, you're on Talkback. Hi.
Hi, good morning, guys, and a happy Friday.
Same to you.
I had a couple quick comments. One regarding Catherine. I think it was Catherine was talking about the dock strike.
Yeah, that was Catherine. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I also just read that one of the large Chinese shipping companies, due in large part to, the slowdown's been going on for, I think, 3 months now, has decided to pull out of the port of Portland, and it sounds like they're planning on going to either Canada or Mexico.
Wow.
So, this is having some big effects. The other thing is, I do read quite a few liberal blogs, and it's interesting because so many people bring up in relation to the Kaarma trial and everything. See, this is why the castle doctrine and defense is bad, because this, look at what happened. And to me, okay, we have the castle doctrine. We can protect our homes and everything. And this trial proves that it's not a blank check to do whatever you want. You still have to obey the law. You can't just take somebody's life, and the outcome of this trial proves that.
I think you make a great point. I think the argument that has now been adjusted, because that was the argument they were getting ready for. The argument has now been adjusted that the castle doctrine is too complex for people to understand, and the public thinks it's this way, and they act on it in this way, and that's why it's bad.
Yeah, anybody that's taken any training at all as far as concealed carry, or any responsible citizen out there, which the majority of in fact, I don't really know any irresponsible gun owners. And that's not saying that people don't make mistakes and so forth, but they're minor mistakes, not a lack of knowledge of what the gun laws are, because we're all law-abiding citizens, and we do want to make sure that we're following the law as much as possible.
All right. Hey, thanks for your call. We got to get through one more call before we shift topics, okay?
Thanks, Mike.
Have a good day.
Thanks a lot. Mike, good morning. You're on Talkback. Hi.
Yeah, well, this is for you, Peter. Your mother and your dad were both Marines, correct?
Yes, sir.
What do you suppose they would say if they listened to the news today that told the Marines in Yemen, destroy your guns and walk out of here with your tail between your legs, get on a commercial airliner, and leave? To me, that is the most disgusting news story I've ever heard, especially when we had ships offshore capable of taking them out in a military fashion, not like a herd of dumb sheep. To me, the guy who gave that order ought to have been stood up against the wall and shot, because that really ticks me off.
I don't blame you. It enrages me as well. I think anybody who's ever had anything to do with the military would just bow their heads in shame. Said, how dare we do things like that to the men and women who put their lives at risk for us and around the world? How dare we?
Yeah. Well, that's all I had to say on that. But like I said, if I had my way, this guy, whoever gave the order, and it came from the White House, I would have no problem breaking her neck for him.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Thanks, Mike. We're up against a break. 721-1290 is our number. We are going to shift gears in a major way. Here we're going to kind of go soft and very romantic.
And tight. Like a zip tie with duct tape.
All right. It's happy Valentine's Day. Anyway, we're going to come right back with more. Dr. Miriam Grossman is going to be with us in a moment. We're back on Talkback. 721-1290 is the number. And it's Friday the 13th, but that's okay because how shall we say, groundbreaking movie, I guess. 50 Shades of Grey is premiering today.
A hand-tying movie.
Well, whatever. And but we have Dr. Miriam Grossman, who's on the phone with us. She's an MD, and she's been on with us before. But Dr. Grossman, first of all, the thing we want to do is this topic deals with, as you had just told us off air, sexual violence. So if you've got little kids who are listening to the show, you might want to just tune over to something else, or if you feel uncomfortable having them talk about this. So we'll just give you a second to do that. The rest of us will talk about this. So, Dr. Grossman, first of all, welcome back to Missoula.
Oh, it's great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
All right. Now, for people who may have been just kind of floating along in the stratosphere and not really paying attention, there is a movie that came from a very, very, very popular book called 50 Shades of Grey, and the movie actually premieres today. So,
and it's not about Peter's hair color.
No, mine are shades of white, or silver, as I like to call it. But anyway, so Dr. Grossman, just tops of the trees, tell us the whole idea of 50 Shades of Grey.
Okay, it can really be summarized in a few sentences. this is a film that glamorizes sadomasochism, sexual violence. It glamorizes it by having gorgeous young actors play the parts, and by representing their relationship as something that ends up being absolutely wonderful, and they ride into the sunset together. I'm warning young people and parents in my blog. I wrote a parent's survival guide to 50 Shades of Grey to explain the dangerous ideas that are promoted by the film. And that's why I'm here with you now to go through some of that.
Let's do that. We've got, by the way, we have 2 lines open. If you have a question or a comment for Dr. Grossman, go ahead.
Yeah, and I want to hear, if you're out there and you want to give a defense of 50 Shades of Grey, you think it's great, maybe you like the novel but hate the movie, I don't care, any opinion. I noticed that here locally in Missoula, we had a guy standing out in front of the movie theater during the opening with a sign saying, "I'm single," and he had duct tape and zip ties and was trying to get anybody that would go along with him to say, maybe hang out. But I don't think he had any takers.
Or hang up.
Yeah.
But anyway, so go ahead, Dr. Grossman.
Yeah, so the movie, it is in a way comical because, number one, it's very poorly written, the books are, and
well, who cares?
The characters are so weak and poorly developed. I mean, in terms of, let's put it this way, this is not Shakespeare here. This is very, very poor quality literature. However, it did sell, and it sold very big. I believe the reason it sold isn't because we have hundreds of millions of people out there that are into sexual sadism and masochism. Absolutely not. The number of people who are into that lifestyle is very, very small, minuscule. What's going on is, first of all, it's pornography. And to a certain extent, there's lots of people, women included, that are into pornography. But parents need to understand, as I'm sure most of your listeners do, that pornography is destructive. It's destructive especially to young people, to their minds, to their hearts, their relationships in the future. So that's the first, number one reason why this movie is dangerous. But even if kids do not see the movie, the message will still seep into our culture. And I'm not sure about Missoula, but I think it's probably safe to assume, you tell me, that when you go to the market or you ride down the street or look in the newspaper or online, you are inundated with these images of handcuffs and rope. Is that the case there in Missoula as well?
Well, actually, Missoula is a college town. It's home of the University of Montana. It is known as the liberal bastion of the state. It's probably the deepest blue of any city, and I don't mean that in a pornographic way. I mean in a political way. It's the deepest blue city probably in the state of Montana. So there's probably going to be a lot more tolerance and interest in this movie here than there would be, say, in any of the other major cities in the state.
Okay, got it. So, so your listeners certainly need to be aware of this and aware of the fact that children who are looking around and aware of their surroundings and listening to what people are saying and looking at these images of the handcuffs and so on, they can begin to associate all that with romance. They can get some sort of twisted notions in their heads about violence and abuse being erotic, which is the message of the film. And so parents, I believe, as a child psychiatrist, that parents need to sit down, they need to make a judgment call whether this needs to be done with their child or not. But in many cases, they should be sitting down and explaining, getting to their child before this vile message from Hollywood gets to the child.
Now, Dr. Grossman, here's what we're up against a break, and we have Sam waiting to visit with you. But just in way of history, in the last 3 or 4 years, Missoula, Montana has been in the spotlight as far as sexual assaults has gone. I'm just sure if you're aware of the many, many articles. There's going to be a book by John Krakauer called, I believe it's called Rape in a College Town or something like that. That's going to be released here very soon.
The Huffington Post labeled us as the rape capital of the world.
Yes, and so
actually that was Gawker.
So when we talk about sexual assault, that sort of thing, Missoula is already hypersensitive about that topic. So I want to talk to you about that when we come back. And Sam will get your call as well. We have one line open at 721-1290. You can also make your comment on our Facebook page. We're coming right back. Hey, thanks for joining us on this Friday the 13th edition of A Talkback. John King's over there. I'm Peter Christian. Joining us on the telephone is Dr. Miriam Grossman. Before we get Sam on the line, you and I were talking a bit about the horrible negative publicity that Missoula has had over the last 3 or 4 years because of sexual assault. And the topic of 50 Shades of Grey, I think it's time to perhaps meld those two ideas together and be a little bit more suspect about films like this coming into our community.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because you can't have it both ways. You cannot, at the same time, promote the ideas of this movie, the themes of this movie, which is that within an intimate relationship, sexual and physical and emotional abuse is not only okay, but erotic and positive and something to celebrate.
Now let me ask you this, Dr. Grossman. I believe the underlying undercurrent message here is, hey, it's okay. These are, quote, consenting adults, end quote.
That's correct. One of the fundamental premises here, and that so many people are defending the movie and the books by saying that these are consenting adults, that Anastasia, the female figure there, was completely informed about what she was getting into, and she wanted it, and she consented it, and so there's no one can judge that in any way. And I object to that strenuously, and I'll tell you why. First of all, if you read the book or a synopsis of the books, which I have done, you see that the lead figure, Christian Grey, is constantly giving Anastasia alcohol. The two of them engage in sexual behavior at a very early point, soon after they meet, and once that sexual behavior begins, we know from a scientific perspective that affects an individual. That intimacy is a powerful experience, even though our culture would like us to believe that it is not. But science says that it is, and neuroscience shows us that intimate behavior affects the brain, and it causes people to trust one another and to love and to let their defenses down. So what I explain in my blog is that, no, Anna, once she, first of all, there was the alcohol, which impairs judgment, of course, but she also began having a sexual relationship with him, and she, early on, I believe, would have been unable to make a completely informed, neutral decision. But even putting all that aside, the argument that she made the decision with her free will, free choice, and that therefore that was a good decision for her, that's just faulty logic. If we applied that logic to all decisions that are made freely under no duress, we would reach the most absurd conclusions. Sure, we have free choice. We have free choice to make good decisions and poor decisions. If you make a decision that is self-destructive, if you decide to go to Las Vegas and gamble away all your assets and get into debt, and you did it under no duress and no one forced you and it was your own free choice, does that mean that that was a good decision? Of course not. So similarly, when Anastasia decides to and she agrees to and signs these forms, these legal documents that Christian Grey has her sign, that she agrees to be his, his slave, basically.
Wow.
She made a very poor decision.
Yeah.
You cannot argue that if a decision is made from free choice, it's a good decision.
Yeah, tell you what, Doctor, we got lots of folks waiting to visit with, so let's just jump right into the phones. Sam, you are on with Dr. Grossman. Please go ahead. Here we go. Sam, are you there? Stand by. Hold on just a second. There we go, Sam. I got you now. Go ahead, sir.
Okay, there we go. Yeah, I just wanted to make a couple of comments. First off, I completely agree that the book is almost comical at points, and it definitely goes from somebody who's never experienced anything to experiencing this extreme version right off the bat, and seems to transition very well. What I don't agree with, though, is that this life is definitely not something of abuse, definitely not, definitely that there can't be a romance aspect to it at all, or that it's, it definitely, the abuse thing is for sure. And the reason that I say that is because, sorry, I'm kind of nervous, but I've never openly said this before, but for the last couple of years, this is exactly the relationship me and my wife have. We are both, we have what's considered a DS relationship, dominant submissive relationship, which is what Anna and Christian Grey have. She's not his slave. He asks her to be his submissive, which she does not end up agreeing to, even though they continue in the BDSM relationship in aspects of their life. But yes, it's
Sam,
a novel.
Let me ask you one thing. Does it pour out of when you're not in the bedroom? I mean, is this something that carries on throughout your daily life? When you're doing the dishes, for example, or trying to decide what restaurant to go to?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. We live it in a 24/7 lifestyle. And I'll put in there, too, that we also have 2 children. And so this is something that is 24/7, but when it's outside of the bedroom, it's very, very...
very subtle?
Very, very subtle, yes.
All
and
right.
it's very intimate between me and my wife. Little things like I have a specific name that I call her when we're in public. It's just a pet name. Nobody else understands that, it seems like a cute pet name, but it's how I refer to her. She calls me sir. Things like that.
And who started this? Was this always your relationship, or did it grow into this?
It wasn't. We actually had been married for about 8 years at the time, and our marriage was declining. We were having a lot of problems, a lot of struggles, and both of us knew that we needed to do something. She had read the book, part of the book, and she said, why don't you read this and let's talk. And so I read the book.
Well, hold on. Are you saying 50 Shades of Grey saved your marriage?
It's a crazy thing to say, but absolutely, I am.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, absolutely, because right away we said, well, not right away, but we talked about it. We did more research because, yes, 50 Shades is a novel. It's a dramatized novel, just like anything else. And so you got to take the good with the bad. I mean, I'm no billionaire that can take my wife on a gliding tour or anything like that.
Take her to Lolo Hot Springs.
And Sam, I hate to do this to you, but we have to take a break. But we get your point, and we'll have Dr. Grossman comment when we come back. Okay?
That'd be great.
And thanks for your call. All right, we'll be right back. And Marilyn, we'll get you on. We have a light open, 721-1290.
You never know who you're in the elevator with.
That's right. We'll be right back. And we're back on Talkback. 721-1290 is the number, discussing the novel and the movie 50 Shades of Grey, which is opening. We had Sam on a little while ago, and I wanted to give Dr. Grossman an opportunity to comment on what he shared with us.
Yeah. Well, I would just say this. Psychologically healthy individuals who are in an intimate relationship do not want any part of that relationship to be about pain, humiliation, isolation, control. A psychologically healthy individual avoids pain and certainly wants to protect their loved one from experiencing pain. And I believe that is self-evident. I don't believe we need to take polls or make do research or...
Well, Dr. Grossman, let me ask you this. My wife is a workoutaholic. She loves to run and do ULA and all these things, and there is a certain element of pain involved in that. And once you reach a certain barrier that I never ever cross, there's some a kind of euphoria, isn't there? I mean, just psychologically.
Well, there are endorphins that are released in the body under certain circumstances, and pain is one of them. That's true. But you see, if we were then to take it to this extreme, we would say, well, what about people who cut themselves, who pick up a knife and slice their skin open because it helps to release endorphins, which it does, and that is why some people do it. Are we then going to say that that's healthy? There has to be a line that's drawn.
Wow.
Okay, and with that, we're up against our hard break. So, Marilyn, I really appreciate your patience. We definitely want to get you on here with your comment. We also have a line open at 721-1290, but we need to take our commercial break here, and we will be back after the top of the hour news. Dr. Grossman has consented to be with us until 10 o'clock this morning. So we are going to continue this discussion because I think it's very fruitful. And 721-1290 is our number, 1-800-568-5309. Agree, disagree, that's what it's all about. We'll be back. Okay, welcome back. John King, Peter Christian joining us on the phone, Dr. Miriam Grossman. We're talking about, if you will, the psychology of 50 Shades of Grey. She's being an MD. And I'm assuming you're a family psychologist, is that right?
I'm a child and adolescent psychiatrist.
Psychiatrist, thank you. Okay. Yeah. Now you wanted to talk a little bit about some of the work that you do online that people can have access to, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a website, miriamgrossmanmd.com, and on there, first of all, I have my blog, which in the past few weeks I've been providing a parent survival guide to 50 Shades of Grey. And what that is an explanation of what the dangers are in this movie, what the dangerous ideas that it promotes are. I explain how people are going to be affected by this movie even if they don't see it, and how it's a great opportunity for parents, really a golden opportunity, to sit down with kids and explain what is a healthy relationship and what is a disturbed relationship. It's such a great opportunity because so many things are being put in front of us. All the marketing and the promotion of this movie with the images of handcuffs and ropes and so on and so forth, and the music, the soundtrack. There's many opportunities when one of these things comes up to say to your child, I heard about this movie and I really need to talk to you about it. And I even believe that if you have a child whose attention is difficult to get, and they're stuck to their devices and they're rolling their eyes at you, I believe that this is important enough to even bribe them and to say, I'll give you $10. We need to sit down, turn your phone off, turn off the computer. This is a really important discussion that we need to have.
Mom, I want $10. I hope you're listening. It'll be a little awkward since I've been married for 13 years, or almost 13 years, but let's do it.
Let's get to the phone. Marilyn's been waiting very patiently. Marilyn, first of all, thank you. You're on with Dr. Grossman. Go ahead.
Good morning. This is all so disturbing, the direction our country's headed in so many ways, shapes, and forms. Thank you for being on the show. Is it Grossman?
Dr. Grossman, Grossman, Grossman.
Okay. Dumbing deviancy down. Where did I hear that a long time ago? I mean, that's where we're headed. And that's where we are. And the Independent newspaper recently had an article about how they were going in, talking to the 8th graders and teaching them about letting your yes be yes now. It used to be your no be no, and it's such a subtle talk about deviant direction we're headed, teaching our kids this. And I had another thing. Oh, yeah, Planned Parenthood. Are you aware, ma'am, that Planned Parenthood has had this? I've never seen it. I've just heard they've been teaching this on their websites, the teen girls, for a while now. Are you aware of that?
Yes, that's true. What Planned Parenthood is about in terms of its sex education is it's about sexual freedom and not sexual health. And I've written about this, and I speak about this at length. This is a philosophy and an attitude that promotes an anything-goes approach towards sexuality, even if there can be abuse involved, sexually transmitted diseases, unwanted pregnancies, and so on and so forth. But the bottom line is with Planned Parenthood and other organizations, such as other sex ed organizations, women's reproductive health organizations, are really not about health at all. It's about trying out anything. Anything goes.
All right, thanks for your call, Marilyn.
Thank you.
Thanks for the call.
All right, I want to backtrack just a little bit because that call, Sam, which I have to say, I'm pretty sure is a fake name, but now I'm going to wonder, every time I meet a Sam, especially a Sam that is referred to as sir.
I know a couple of Sams, but anyway.
Also, you can't spell Sam without S and M, which I think is an important feature of that name.
Anyway,
Sam made a great point. I thought, there's people out there in marriages, and a lot of them, I'm just going to speak personally, right? Okay. I'm not accusing or putting any blame on other people, but if you're married and you've experienced a long marriage, which 12 years in American culture is fairly long these days, I have. You have ups and downs in the sexual part of your relationship. Sometimes are, I guess you could say, hotter than others. Like right after you have a baby, not so hot in our case, for at least the first one. and so a lot of people have had marriages and they feel like they need to spice it up a little bit, get a little action going, something different, something new, something perhaps a little risque,
a little forbidden.
And in the case of Sam earlier, this was what he claims saved his marriage. So how do you approach someone who has that position or that experience and say that's not good?
Tell you what, Dr. Miriam, Dr. Grossman, we're up against a break, and I want to give you plenty of time to make your answer. I'm sorry, I have to be the commercial sheriff. But that's a great question. And we do have two lines open, by the way, 721-1290. We'd also make your comments on our Facebook page.
We yield our wills to you, Peter.
Thank you, sir. We'll be right back. Hey, we're back on Talkback. 721-1290 is the number. That's John King. I'm Peter Christian. Dr. Miriam Grossman is joining us on the phone. We're talking about 50 Shades of Grey. The movie opens, and you just asked a question about, every marriage goes through ups and downs, dry periods, that sort of thing. So what do you say to that? How do you respond to that as a psychiatrist?
I want to tell people about another film that's coming out. It hasn't been released yet, but there's a website, and people need to go to that website. It's called thelostkey.com. Now, I have nothing to do with this film. I'm not a part of it. I'm not going to make anything off of this, but this is an answer to your question. Of course, in marriages, things, will go up and down. There's one type of, there's a more romantic time. There's other times in marriages which may be more tough and so on. And of course, the intimate portion of a relationship is going to change with that. But there are ways, you don't need to go out and get some handcuffs and duct tape in order to fix your marriage. I strongly recommend you not do that.
So the lost key has nothing to do with handcuffs. Very different.
Absolutely not.
Okay.
The key is not to the handcuffs.
Okay.
The key is to ancient wisdom, actually, ancient Jewish wisdom that exists about intimacy between a man and a wife and how to keep it alive. This is a documentary about that ancient wisdom and how it can be applied to couples today. And it is interviews and talks with different couples who are meeting with a Orthodox rabbi, believe it or not, with a really long beard, and they're talking about the hidden ancient secrets of keeping intimacy alive.
Wow.
The lost key.
Is it work for 30 years and then you get Rachel? Is that the...
It's worked for millennia. Everyone knows that traditional Jewish marriages are among the strongest, and that divorce is rare in traditional Jewish marriages that follow the advice that this rabbi is giving.
Okay,
you don't have to be Jewish to follow these laws.
All right, let's get back to the phone. Jerry, first of all, thank you for holding, sir. You're on with Dr. Grossman. Go ahead.
Good morning. And I just wanted to say, there's different strokes for different folks. And, with all respect, if everybody did exactly what you wanted and what you were saying, would you still find something to complain about?
Dr. Grossman?
What I'm objecting to...
Thanks for the call, by the way, Jerry.
Yeah. What I'm saying here is not that, people, of course, can do what they want behind closed doors, but this movie and these books are about promoting and glamorizing this aberrant behavior to young, impressionable, naive people.
Why do you feel they're targeting young people? It seems to me they're targeting women in their 40s.
Oh, I disagree. Well, the actors are in their 20s. The main actress is supposed to be a 21-year-old girl.
However, primarily the people reading this book, I think it first caught fire with older women's reading book clubs and that sort of thing.
Oprah.
Is that right? Or
no, I'm just joking. That's what they say. But the movie certainly is being pushed at young people very much so, and a movie is very different than a book. Young people go to the movies.
Right. All right. So 721-1290 is our number, 1-800-568-5309. Unfortunately, Dr. Grossman's going to have to leave us here in our next break about 4 or 5 minutes from now. So let's see. Lee is on the line. Good morning, Lee. How are you?
Hi, John. Good morning. Excuse me, Peter.
That's
Hi,
okay.
Peter.
We're both here.
I just wanted to make a quick comment
right ahead.
Regarding just a moment ago, we talked about how this book is targeted towards 40-year-old women, which is very true. But I have a friend, a very dear friend who I love very much, who chose to read this book. I would not open it or look at it. But she not only read it, but she shared parts of it with her teenage children. One is a boy and one is a girl. One is, they're both in high school. One is not even driving yet. So I just wanted to say that it may be targeted at 40-year-old women, but these 40-year-old women have teenagers in the house.
Sure.
So I just wanted to...
Now, was this like a scared straight sort of tactic, like giving your kid a taste of hot beer when they're young?
Thank you for bringing that up, John. That's a great question. But no, it was not in that format. It was, Mom loves this book. Don't interrupt me while I'm reading this book. And if you do, this is what's so good. This is the great part I'm in. And it's been more playful, more fun, more at the idea that this is a healthy way to relate to each other if this is how you choose to relate to each other.
Well, it's interestingly that when people like, I think the gentleman who just called Jerry a few minutes ago, basically, and Dr. Grossman, I'm sure you probably experienced this, anyone who comes out against or advises against this sort of thing, oh, you're just a prude. You don't want people to have any fun. What's the matter with you? I mean, how do you respond to that?
You know what? I have written a letter to young people, a psychiatrist's letter to young people about 50 Shades of Grey, and it can be it's a PDF. It can be printed out and given, put on the pillow or in the backpack of any young person you know. The way that I respond to that is just I don't even take it seriously, honestly. It's just a way. Instead, let's deal with the issues here. To inflict pain on a person that you love or to want to be in pain is simply not psychologically healthy.
Gotcha. All right, let's get Catherine on the line, and this will be our last call for Dr. Grossman. Go ahead, Catherine.
Yeah, just a quick question. I read a couple articles lately about 50 Shades of Grey, which is, by the way, poorly written fanfic for Twilight people.
Are there vampires in this? I don't know.
What?
Are there vampires in 50 Shades of Grey?
No, but that's how it first got its start, apparently. But as literature, it kind of just sucks. Anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Well played.
Go ahead.
Pedophilia is one of the articles that I was reading said that it's pedophilia hiding in plain sight because of the character sketches. I guess the way the characters are sketched out, because the gal is just a stupid. She's supposed to be 21, but she acts like she's 12. No sexual experience.
She's very immature. Yeah.
Extremely immature, and et cetera, et cetera.
I was 21 without sexual experience. Just going to say.
What?
I was 21 once without sexual experience. Throw that out there.
I mean, just the way she uses words and the way, et cetera, et cetera. So I was just curious what your take on that was.
All right, thanks, Catherine, and we'll let you go. Go ahead, Doctor.
It is accurate that the character Anastasia Steele is portrayed as a very immature, inexperienced, meek, very low self-confidence, confused young woman. So I can see that argument. Christian Grey is older and very experienced and confident and all of that.
Do you know what picture just came into my head when you were describing the two characters? I thought of Eve and the serpent.
Oh.
No, I really did. That's what popped into my head. I don't know. Maybe I'm weird, but anyway. Hey, listen, we're going to let you go. I know you have to run. So give us your website again and how we can find out more about what you're writing.
Sure. It's Miriam Grossman, MD. MIRIAM GROSSMAN, MD, all one word, .com.
All right, great.
And there's loads of material there, great stuff to help you out with your kids, to learn more about the problems that we have these days with sex education, information about my books that I've written, and so on and so forth. So thank you so much for having me on today.
Okay, thank you, Doctor. We appreciate it.
Okay, take care.
Have a great weekend. All right, and by the way, happy Valentine's Day, Dr. Grossman.
Yeah.
We're up against a break, 721-1290, 1-800-568-5309. And I think it might be kind of fun to ask people, what do you have planned for Valentine's Day?
Oh, yeah, I might need a little help here, too.
Yeah,
so.
If you have a suggestion for John, I'm coming up on my wife and I, my beloved spousal unit, and I...
Does she blush when you say that? I wonder.
She rolls her eyes.
Okay, good. That's
but anyway,
an appropriate response.
But she and I are coming up on our 35th wedding anniversary.
Woo, hot dog.
And how old are you, John?
I am...
Yeah, never mind. Okay, we're going to come...
I'm 33.
Okay, we're going to be right back. I would love to... seriously, tell us what you've got planned for Valentine's Day, if you don't mind sharing. 721-1290, we're coming right back. Hey, thanks for joining us. It's Friday the 13th edition of Talkback, and John is pointing down at, the computer.
The computer, Peter. Gee whiz. This guy.
What's going on? What's going on?
Well, sir.
Facebook comment.
Katie says, so what did first and second wave feminists fight for? I thought it was for equality of opportunity, voting and employment rights, etc. So now pop culture celebrates submissive female to dominant male. Bizarre. And then... Ron says, this is a waste of film. We want your comments and your thoughts. Give us a call at 721-1290 or post them on Facebook. And we've got Emmett on the line.
We certainly do. Emmett, good morning. What's up?
Oh, thanks for taking my call. I kind of wish you'd had that doctor on for a little longer because I got in late on the show. But anyway, I had never even heard of this book until I had heard under the controversy about it. And I still really don't know all that much about what the book is about because I don't read dime store novels, I almost thought it would be a trashy dime store novel. The little I know is that it sounds like, just from what you're talking about, I even hate to see the, dominatrix and S&M and some sort of romance. I don't even know if the two characters are married or not.
No.
They're not married.
No.
Why is that a surprise?
Well, maybe they do by the end of the third book. I don't know. There's a bunch of books now. Yeah,
there's 3 books.
Yeah, I think so. By the way, hey, ladies, you can use a fake name, whatever. If you read the books and enjoyed them, give us a call. We just want to hear, because honestly, Peter and I, we probably aren't going to go there.
Well, let's put it this way: I'm a stodgy old man. What do I know?
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, so go ahead.
Peter is going to go watch 50 Shades of Grey just for the extra butter they're putting on the popcorn.
I think not.
I
But
heard
anyway,
that's a special.
Go ahead, Emmett. We interrupted. Go ahead.
Well, anyway, it sounds like this is the type of movie, almost like pornography. I don't know if it's pornography, but it almost sounds like the type of thing that would be in a porn shop, at a XXX rated old-fashioned porn shop, just in the back that no one ever would ever want to get. It's the raunchification.
Well, lest you think that this is unusual, allow me to tell you, I was listening to a gentleman that I really respect, a guy named Mark Driscoll, who's a pastor in Seattle, and had done a study. A sociologist had given him a study that pornography is a bigger business than all professional sports combined. Football, baseball, basketball, everything, watching, merchandising, it pales in comparison to that.
You're kidding me.
No, I'm not kidding you.
Am I dreaming? Maybe this is a dream and I woke up and I'll need to put this in my dream diary. If it's not, this has become like almost Sodom and Gomorrah without, even with the homosexuality. I'm not against sex in the movies because I loved Conan the Barbarian and I loved Excalibur. Those were R-rated movies that had sex, but it was tastefully done. This is just pornography. It sounds. I don't even know if this is.
Well,
gay
you haven't seen it, right? So
no, and I don't want to. Should I go see it or not? I don't think I want to go. A Christian shouldn't go see something like this, but maybe I could get on a computer and look up information about these books.
Well, you can always just wear a sack over your head.
Well, it's not like you're like, hey, Jesus, do you want to go with me to watch Conan the Barbarian this weekend, or Excalibur, or 50 Shades of Grey? I mean, which one would he be up for?
Who would what?
Do you think Jesus would be up for watching any of those movies with you?
Who would be?
Jesus,
Oh, Jesus.
The Savior.
You were talking about being a Christian.
He would be up for it because they're tastefully done. Because there was not about sex; it was about barbarians. And of course,
I do not imagine. I just cannot imagine him nudging you and saying, "This scene is tastefully done."
Well, trust me, they were beautiful movies, but this other thing, 50 Shades of Grey, is nothing but awful pornography. That's just as
Thanks,
totally
Emmett.
different. So,
all right.
I think for Valentine's Day, we should pray for these people.
All right. Great idea. Thanks for the call, Emmett. Man. I feel totally sacrilegious right now. I feel terrible. Why am I laughing about this? I'll be right back. In the "you're only young once, but you can be immature forever" category. It's right there. We just want to say goodbye to our friend Emmett, who was just struck by a lightning bolt moments ago. Anyway, no, 721-1290 is our number. And
the angels in heaven apparently are not playing harps. They are playing
all right.
Conan the Barbarian.
Let's get Laura, you're on Talkback. Thank you for holding. Go ahead, please.
Hi, guys. Good morning. Emmett's one of my favorite callers, so I hope nothing has happened to him.
I hope not, too.
We hung up. But I just wanted to say, I know there's so many reasons for us already to not see this film, but I read a review yesterday. I have no idea who the person was, but they said that the most arousing part of this film was the opening scene where I guess we're standing on the street and looking up at a skyscraper building standing tall in the sky. And
wink, wink. I get it. Yeah, I get it. Yeah.
But anyway, the point is the reviewer was saying that it left the viewer very disappointed, probably after whatever visuals they came up with reading this book.
I got you.
But I also wanted to say on another note, just kind of what this does. This, by not having a lot of pornography, by not showing any genitalia, by making this as benign a film as possible, it ends up in theaters across the nation.
Right,
and
right.
And continues spreading the idea that this is just another healthy alternative. And I just wanted to make that comment. I also wanted to say I hope you guys have a great Valentine's Day, and you're part of every morning here.
Well, thank you. Now, let me ask you, do you have any wonderful, creative, romantic suggestions for not just John and I, but anybody out there because you're a woman, and so do you get sick of flowers and candy after a while, or is it something you expect on Valentine's Day?
I definitely don't expect it at our house. My husband is, we've been together almost 17 years, and he does things like, when he takes the kids on a hike, he'll, pick some wildflowers and bring them home to me.
Oh, nice.
And, there's been a couple times in our relationship where he's really screwed up and actually went to the store to buy roses. And as much as I enjoy that, I also am like, oh my gosh, don't spend that money on those flowers. Yeah. I would so much rather us just spend time together, and which we get to do a lot. And I would just take this weekend, even though I think couples should do this all the time, but to, look into each other's eyes and express openly, your deep affection for each other. But don't go out and spend tons of money and take these deals at restaurants and all that other stuff. Just, embrace each other and be glad you have one another.
Let me ask you this, Laura. Is there a favorite romantic movie that you and your husband enjoy?
Besides Conan the Barbarian.
Yeah, besides Conan and Excalibur.
Yeah. Great film. Yeah. I would have to say no. We watch a lot of stuff that is definitely not on the romance side, but I don't know. He's romantic because he loves me no matter what crap I put up, give out to him. And he's always there for me the next day, even if I've been a brat the night before. And
wow.
And I just
okay. What's his first name?
His name is Shane.
All right, so Shane, you're the man, brother.
Yeah, and Shane, if you're listening, if you really want to get to her heart, you need to balance that checkbook.
Yeah,
that's apparently the key here.
Hey, Laura, thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you guys. Have a great weekend.
You too. Thanks so much for sharing that with us. Bruce, you're on Talkback. Hi, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, boys. How's it going?
We're having too much fun here, buddy.
Too, so.
Well, go ahead.
I was just going to say this 50 Shades of Grey thing. I'm kind of like on the other end of the spectrum. If it's a raunchy movie, that's about the only reason I go see it.
So you got prurient interests here. You basically...
Yeah, prurient interest. As long as Zsa Zsa Gabor's not in it, I'll be there.
Well, I said you set the bar pretty high there, Bruce.
Oh, you betcha. Happy Valentine's Day,
Thanks
guys.
a lot, buddy. So if Zsa Zsa Gabor is not in it, it's okay. Wow. Interesting. All right, 721-1290 is our number, 1-800-568-5309. Also, we have Facebook, and we have a Facebook comment. Go.
That's right. Elena says, have you ever noticed how TV films have no problem showing scenes of mutilation, blood, and guts, etc.,
right.
but smudges out certain sexual acts and parts of the human physique?
Yes.
What am I doing for St. Valentine's Day? I'm taking someone I love to see 50 Shades of Grey. My kids bought us tickets.
Wow. Well, there you go.
There you go.
Okay. So let's, she's got a point. The whole violence thing. I mean, you can eviscerate somebody in a PG-13 movie, and you can't show any body parts. But yeah, exactly. All right, what was that?
That was a whip, Peter.
Let's get Angie on the
You
phone.
know what I'm talking about.
Good morning, Angie. What's up?
Hi. Yeah, I just want to say this whole controversy kind of reminds me of when I was a teenager back in the day, and the book out then was The Exorcist.
Oh, yes.
And I still remember my mother to this day saying to me, "You will never read that book." And I immediately went out, and of course back then you couldn't just put the link, and I sought that book out. I had no idea what it was. I'd never even heard of it.
Right.
But she told me, "Oh, you're not going to see that."
It's the forbidden fruit.
And so I feel like, we are making this big deal of it. No, I wouldn't necessarily want my young teenagers to see it. But by all this hyping it in this way, I think we're really just making it worse.
I think you got a point. Like, if you don't like the idea or the concepts behind the movie, then all this publicity certainly isn't helping the cause, right?
Right. And, I don't choose to go see the movie. I read the book. Well, I shouldn't say. I read two of them, and I started the third. I never even finished it. It just, after a while, I was just like, okay.
Is it really a trilogy?
Yeah.
It is really? Wow.
And,
so is it 51 shades and 52 shades, or what? I mean...
I don't remember what the different titles are.
Oh, well.
I got to look this up now.
Everyone was talking about it. I wanted to see what everyone was talking about. I'm an adult. I read it. It's just not something that I need in my life. I don't know. Some people do. That's great. Whatever they want to do. I'm not going to tell other people what to do. But I just think as far as people worrying about, the kids and all that, the more we tell them, don't, oh my gosh, don't see that.
Well, I think Dr. Grossman had a really good point. It's not so much that you forbid a child or a teenager from seeing the movie, but it's a great opportunity to start a conversation. Let's talk. Let's actually talk about real grown-up things, because the first thing that does is it brings your teenager into your adult world, which is someplace they really want to be, you know?
Right, and actually listening to this I don't know if it was last night, but in a couple of days, I have a teenage son, and he, out of the blue, says to me, "Are you going to go see 50 Shades of Grey, Mom?" You know, tee-hee-hee, and I just said, "No, I'm not." And that was the end, and I thought, I need to go back and kind of say to him why I don't choose to see it.
Sure.
And then my answer was not a good answer.
You always have another shot at it.
Anyway, I still remember that book, The Exorcist. It was awesome. When I was 15.
Thanks, Angie. Appreciate the call.
So the book titles are 50 Shades of Grey. That's the first one.
Okay.
And then there's 50 Shades Darker. And then there's 50 Shades Freed.
Really? Freed?
Yeah.
So you're bound up with duct tape and you're free?
Okay, so I think the story arc here is you have a guy that's kind of in bondage to bondage. Like, he is this person that needs dominance to have a relationship, and he ends up falling in love with this girl, and she kind of brings him around to a more, I guess, normal sexuality.
Okay, all right.
I don't know. I haven't read it, but that's just my understanding.
Anyway, 721-1290. Denise, if you don't mind holding for just a minute, we're going to take a quick break, come right back, and we'd love to hear from you. Get into, heck, it's almost Valentine's Day. What the heck? We'll be right back with more in a moment. Hey, it's a Friday edition of Talk Back. Not only that, it's Friday the 13th and the day before, I was going to say Halloween.
You can tell Peter's really getting into this 50 Shades of Grey thing.
Valentine's Day.
What costume are you wearing, Peter?
Let's get wow. This is it, buddy.
Oh, boy.
People think I'm wearing a mask, but I'm really not.
They call him Grizz for a reason.
It's my real face. All right, let's get Denise. Good morning, Denise. What's up, kid?
Hey, I just wanted to give a couple movie recommendations for folks out there.
Oh, wonderful. Go ahead.
For the ladies, I would suggest Return to Me. It's a
I know.
tearjerker, and there's enough humor and masculinity in there for the guys to.
It is
a great.
It is a great movie, and it was kind of a sleeper. But my wife and I love it. It's one of our favorites as well.
And the other would be Last of the Mohicans. The ladies would stay tuned because of Daniel Day-Lewis, and the guys would love all the war and stuff like that.
Yes, there's lots of battle scenes and blood and
So
stuff.
all you need is War and Daniel Day-Lewis. Why not There Will Be Blood or Gangs of New York?
All right, Denise,
and
thanks.
My last comment would
go ahead.
be, at some point in time, the problems of intimacy in this world today will be clarified.
Okay.
That was ominous. What do you mean?
I mean that at some point in time, we do not know the day or the hour.
Oh, I gotcha.
I gotcha.
Eschatological talk here.
Thanks.
I got it.
Thanks, Denise. Appreciate the call. So the lightning bolt, maybe not quite yet. Keith, good morning. You're on Talkback. Hi.
Yeah, hi. How are you today?
Fantastic. What's up?
Oh, hey, just talking about the Valentine stuff. I prefer to do things kind of a little more off the wall. One of the times for my wife, I got an entire box of kid Valentines. You know, you get 30 in a box.
Right.
And then I spent a couple hours filling out notes on every single one.
Oh, that's cute.
Then I went down to her office early in the morning before she thought I was just going to work, and taped them on string hanging from all different heights in her office.
Oh, that's great.
She walked in.
What a guy.
There were all 30 of them hanging down.
Well, good for you.
Oh, yeah. And then another one I used to do, and I'm not big on sending a dozen roses simply because it's very expensive.
Boy,
And a whole box of kids' Valentine's Day cards. I know this because I bought 2 boxes this week. This is like $2.50.
So what I usually used to do is, if it was somebody that, was the first time, I would go over to my mom's house who raises roses and get a dozen roses and then pull all the leaves off, all the thorns off, the petals and everything, and then package it all up into a box so all the stems are wrapped together. There's a bag of thorns and all of this. Put it in a box and then write this fictitious note saying that this young man walked into our florist shop and wants to send you a dozen roses, but we really don't have the time to get them out right now. So we're sending you the do-it-yourself kit. Inside there would be a thing of super glue, too.
That is a great idea.
Well, the only thing that makes it work is that about 10 minutes after you deliver that, you have delivered a single rose, all wrapped with baby's breath and everything, and tell her that this one is being sent so you know how to follow the directions to put the others together.
Perfect. Keith, that's brilliant. Thanks for the call, man.
Have a good day.
Appreciate it. Wow, what a romantic guy. Bobby, you're on Talkback. Hi.
Hi. Well, I don't know if you know this, but Gilbert Godfrey, the guy who is the voice for the parrot on Aladdin,
right? Okay.
He did his own interpretation of 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh no.
Oh, and it's good.
Well, he's the most romantic voice talent around.
I could just imagine. I'm sorry,
But,
Bobby. I interrupted. Go ahead. Please finish.
But now I haven't seen it. I'm not going to read it. I've heard of people saying that they saw that on their mother's nightstand, and like they almost went blind because our parents aren't supposed to do that. You didn't get that, did you?
Yeah, I got it. I'm just I'm just letting it go for dramatic effect.
Okay. Well, and if this is supposed to be the new chick flick, oh my gosh, I don't even like chick flicks.
Or how about, can I just read it till I need glasses, right?
Good grief. But if my mother read that, I oh my gosh, I can't even imagine. And fathers don't want to be hated. You read that, you're going to hate your father. I'm sorry.
Okay. Thanks,
All
Bobby.
right, thanks.
Thanks for the call. Wow. Okay. We're up against our last break here, and interesting. I'd really love to hear some more Valentine's romantic movie suggestions.
There was a romantic romantic moment between the vice president this week.
Oh,
maybe we'll play that after the break.
Okay, yeah, you're gonna love this. We'll be right back. Seriously, I'd love to know if you have any romantic movies that you want to suggest. Just run down to the video store, whatever, or if you got Netflix, whatever. 721-1290 is our number. We're coming right back. We got about 8 minutes left in the show. Thought you might enjoy this, seeing as how we're talking about 50 Shades of Grey. This is Whip It.
By Devo.
Ow, ow, ow. Okay, 721-1290 is our number.
We got some more movie recommendations.
Yes, we do.
Frankie and Johnny and The African Queen.
The African Queen?
Yeah.
It's Katharine Hepburn and Humphrey Bogart.
But you would know.
Because I do love old movies.
You do.
But I'm. Did they ever really have a romance? Because she was really severely religious. He was an alcoholic, and I realized they grow together and grow to, enjoy each other and like each other. But
it's a great movie if your wife's really religious and you're an alcoholic, I guess.
I guess so.
Let's go ahead and maybe someone else was having a little sip too much of the alcohol this week, because people, and this is not something I am starting. Yeah. This is, other people have noted that the president or the vice president, Joe Biden, said this, and no one really knows what he meant. I don't think he's been out to explain what he said.
So they haven't had Josh Earnest come out and have to try to have a news conference about this.
I don't think anybody in the press corps has the equipment to ask this question. So go ahead and listen to this, and you tell me what you think he says.
Okay, here we go. This is the Vice President of the United States, the Honorable Joseph Biden.
And Neil Smith, an old buddy. Are you here, Neil? Neil, I miss you, man. I miss you.
What? Play it again. I have listened to this probably 15 times.
And Neil Smith, an old buddy. Are you here, Neil? Neil, I miss you, man. I miss you.
So my best, maybe he was trying to say buddy and stuttered.
Yeah,
that's
stuttered.
one.
He just stuttered. That's all.
Or he had a bunk buddy. Or maybe they were on like the science team and were building, maybe he was a bot buddy. Like they built robots together. But of course, the one that everybody goes to is butt buddy.
Yes, I know. Oh, golly jeepers.
Anyway.
I'm really glad that this is Friday. I am really glad, because I need the weekend to recuperate from especially this show. 721-1290 is our number. So what it says, my wife and I really enjoy some of the older, like Pride and Prejudice, like
the novel
A Tale of Two Cities.
She makes Peter read it aloud.
No, I mean, and Pride and Prejudice has come out in many different varieties. There was a movie with Greer Garson and Laurence Olivier back in the 30s, which was a classic. And then they've made several, because it's, it's big, long, epic. They've made several mini-series about Pride and Prejudice, and it's extremely romantic. Even as a card-carrying registered guy, the PA guy at the Montana Grizzly football games, I still enjoy watching those with my wife because it is very romantic. Anyway. I'd like to know what you think. 72112. We have about 5 minutes left in the program. Seriously, looking for some, and we want you to go on the air with us. Don't just yell the movie and hang up.
Okay, I got us some movies though.
All right.
Officer and a Gentleman, and then we have an explanation for Butt Buddy.
Oh, great!
This is, he thinks, a term for smokers from a different era. Like they would,
So is this Tammy?
No, this is someone else. This is someone else that called in, and that's one of the best explanations I've heard.
Smokers.
Yeah.
For cigarette butts.
Right.
I got it.
So does that mean Obama and Joe Biden now because they're both smokers?
It could be.
Are they?
Oh, my heavenly days. All right. Is this Tammy?
Yes, I'm here.
Tammy, you got to help us out here. So what do you think?
We like The Princess Bride.
Oh, good.
And that's one that my husband and I can both agree on. It's pretty funny. We can watch it with the kids. There's a love story.
It is a cute one. We watched that recently at our house as well with my 7-year-old.
All together now. As you
wish.
And now, do you do the rhyming game like Andre the Giant does?
No, we don't.
Play
do
the
that.
rhyming game.
No,
I
but
mean
we
it.
Love we have to rewind.
Anybody
want a pickle several times.
I got a good Valentine's Day movie. Have you seen it?
Anybody want a peanut? Sorry, no more rhyming, and I mean it. Anybody want a peanut?
That's great. All right.
Anyhow, take care, guys. Have a Valentine's Day.
Because thank you, and it's about love.
This show's been dirty. Better clean it.
True love. Yeah, they've gathered here today to talk about love.
Marriage.
Why we are gathered together today.
Anyway. So, we have 3 minutes to waste, John. What are we going to do? Anyway, 721-1290 is the number. Gosh. It's been a great week, and we've had some wonderful guests. And even today, talking about 50 Shades of Grey. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, we got a quote on Facebook, a couple of them. Jim says, apparently a lot of people are disappointed that the film isn't rated NC-17. Okay. Even with the R rating, I guess it's much more tame than you might expect. And then Elena says, one more thing. Have you ever noticed how the saint part has been conveniently dropped? And most of us have just accepted it, kind of like we have been incrementally transformed from a republic to a democracy, just using words.
Are you talking about St. Valentine's Day?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, there you go.
So was St. Valentine's Day, was he the guy that dressed up in the diaper? No, that's Cupid.
Well, yeah. And I think a lot of that's probably the difference between Protestants and Catholics. Yeah. We don't have saints' days in most of the Protestant churches.
Matt, you're on Talkback. Hi.
Yeah, St. Valentine was a Roman legionnaire who was also a Christian priest who married his soldiers against the world.
Okay.
Romantic movies.
All right.
Wuthering Heights.
Oh, Wuthering Heights is
Olivier,
awesome. Merle Oberon. Oh, man, she was gorgeous.
As far as modern romantic movies, you have to go with a British romantic comedy because in spite of the fact that they're chick flicks, they have brilliant dialogue.
How about Notting Hill?
I was thinking more along because it has better actresses, I was thinking more along the lines of Four Weddings and a Funeral.
Okay, I never saw that.
You gotta see Four Weddings and a Funeral. It's one of the just snappiest movies as far as dialogue. And the song, it opens up with Sir Elton John singing George Gershwin.
Gotcha. All right, thanks for the call, Matt. Appreciate that. Happy Valentine's Day to you. Jay, good morning. You're on Talkback. Hi.
Good morning. A little-known movie that guys could take notes from would be a movie called Fireproof.
Oh, yes, I did see that. Right, yeah.
It's got something for everybody in it.
It's a movie with a great message, too.
Sit down and take notes on it.
Now, this isn't like candle dripping wax sort of thing. This is how to have a healthy marriage.
Yes.
Right.
All right. Thanks, Jay.
It overwhelms Shades of Grey.
There you go. All right, thanks for the call. We have less than a minute. So what's coming up on Monday's fabulous radio program, Mr. King?
Oh, chaos and calamity. It's mostly open phones, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, yes. Yes, it is. And it's President's Day.
Oh, good point. It is President's Day, and frankly, Peter and I haven't talked. Are we going to have a show on Monday or not?
Well, of course. We don't have the day off, do we?
Yeah, we do.
We do?
That's what the calendar says. So, I don't know what we're going to do yet. I left it open because I was going to have this talk with Peter at a more convenient time instead of live radio.
Do you really think they're going to let us have President's Day? I mean, do you really seriously think they're going to?
Honestly, I don't think half the people know what we do. And those that do are probably just blushing.
Have a great weekend and happy Valentine's Day.